My sister told everyone my child isn't actually mine because we don't look alike, then demanded a DNA test at Christmas dinner. So I did this, and she was removed from the family. We'll throw away. BC, obviously, I, female, 35, think my sister, female, 33, is spreading rumors that my daughter, female, 8, isn't biologically mine, and I don't know what to do about Christmas dinner this weekend. Long-time lurker, first-time poster. Sorry in advance for how long this is going to be. I'm kind of freaking out and need to get this all out. So I've been raising my daughter Mia by myself since my husband Steven died in a car accident when she was 11 months old. She's 8 now. It's been really hard sometimes, but we're doing okay. I have an amazing support system, and my parents have been incredible with helping out. One thing that's always been a thing is that Mia looks nothing like me, like at all. I have dark hair, olive skin, and brown eyes, take after my mom's Italian side, while Mia is super blonde with really fair skin and blue eyes, basically the spitting image of my late husband. I've gotten used to the weird looks from strangers, and sometimes people think I'm her nanny, not her mom. Happened at her school twice last year, so embarrassing. It usually doesn't bother me that much, but it's important context for the current situation. My sister Sheila has always been insanely competitive with me since we were kids. Everything had to be a competition. Grades, sports, attention from our parents, who had more friends, who got asked to prom first, you name it. When we got older, it became about jobs, boyfriends, who had the nicer apartment, etc. I've tried to rise above it because she's my sister and family is important to me. Our relationship has always been kind of up and down. Like, we'll go through periods where we're actually pretty close, and then something will happen and we won't talk for months. Our parents, male 70, female 68, built this successful family business, commercial real estate, that they sold about 7 years ago for a lot of money. They're basically set for life. They've always been really open about their will, maybe too open, honestly, like who discusses this stuff at Thanksgiving dinner. And they plan to split everything equally between me and Sheila, with some extra specifically set aside for Mia's education and future. I never asked for this special Mia provision, but my parents adore their only grandchild, and they insisted on setting up this trust for her. Sheila's life has been falling apart lately. Her marriage ended after 8 years. There might have been some cheating involved, but I'm not 100% sure. Her business lost some big clients, and about 6 months ago she moved back to our hometown and is staying in our parents' guest house temporarily, which is starting to look not so temporary. I've tried to be supportive, invited her for coffee, checked in on her regularly. The thing is, having Mia wasn't easy for us. Steven and I struggled with fertility issues for almost 5 years before having her. We had 2 miscarriages and went through all kinds of treatments and tests. I was at the point where we were considering IVF or adoption when I found out I was pregnant with Mia. She was our miracle baby. We conceived her naturally right when we'd almost given up hope. My parents know all about this because they supported us through the whole journey. But Sheila was living in another state during most of this time, and we weren't super close then, so she doesn't know all the details. Things started getting weird about 3 months ago. Sheila began making these odd comments about Mia's appearance. At first it seemed innocent, like, "Wow, it's crazy how Mia doesn't look anything like you, Clara." But then the comments got more frequent and pointed, especially when our parents were around. She'd say stuff like, "I just can't see any of Clara in her features at all. Can you, Dad?" Or, "Those blue eyes are so striking, I wonder where those came from," with this weird emphasis and kind of looking around the room for reactions. I tried to just brush it off at first because I didn't want to start drama. And honestly, it is true that she looks nothing like me, so it wasn't like Sheila was saying something that wasn't obvious to everyone. But the way she was saying it felt like she was trying to imply something. Sheila and Brandon tried for years to have kids, and it never happened. They even did some fertility treatments too, but nothing worked out. So maybe that's part of why this whole thing is happening. Last week, something really disturbing happened. I stopped by my parents' house unexpectedly to bring my mom some homemade soup. She had a cold. No one answered when I knocked, but their car was there, so I used my key to let myself in. I called out, but no one answered, which was weird. And then I heard shuffling in my dad's home office. I found Sheila in there, going through the filing cabinet where they keep important family documents. When she saw me, she jumped, like really jumped, and said she was looking for her birth certificate for her divorce proceedings. but I could clearly see she had a folder open that contained my medical records, specifically stuff related to my fertility treatments from years ago. When I asked what she was doing with those, she got defensive and quickly put them away, saying she grabbed the wrong folder by mistake. Then 2 days ago, my cousin Shannon, female, 40, called me. She said Sheila had been talking to several family members, saying she had serious concerns and evidence that Mia might not be my biological child. According to Shannon, Sheila was suggesting there might have been an egg donor involved, or possibly even a secret adoption that I'm hiding from everyone. Shannon was calling to warn me because she thought it was really messed up. I was furious, like literally shaking. My hands couldn't even hold the phone properly. I immediately called Sheila to confront her. She tried to deny it at first, saying Shannon exaggerates everything. When I pressed her, she got defensive and said she was just thinking out loud based on the obvious physical differences. She said I was being too sensitive and that she wasn't spreading rumors, just making observations. When I reminded her how much we struggled with fertility and asked her to stop before it got back to Mia, she said she was just concerned about the truth and that the family has a right to know. When I pointed out that Mia looks exactly like Steven, she just said she had another appointment and would see everyone at Christmas dinner, then hung up on me. I threw my phone across the room. Not my proudest moment. And yes, I cracked the screen. But I was just so angry. Now I'm really anxious about Christmas dinner at my parents' house this weekend. There will be about 15 family members there, and I'm worried Sheila might create a scene or continue spreading these horrible rumors. Mia is so excited about Christmas with her grandparents and extended family. Since Steven's parents passed away years ago, my parents are her only grandparents, which makes these family holidays extra special for her. I have all of Mia's birth records and medical history, but I'm more concerned about the emotional damage this could cause her if Sheila says something in front of her. Mia is at that age where she's becoming more aware of adult conversations. I don't want her Christmas ruined by my sister's whatever this is. Jealousy, spite. I honestly don't know what Sheila's endgame is here. Should I confront Sheila again before the dinner? Tell my parents what's going on. Try to have Sheila uninvited. I don't want to create a whole scene during the holidays, but I'm genuinely worried about what Sheila might do or say. I'm also worried that if enough family members hear these rumors, some might actually start to believe them. I know how this sounds, like some crazy soap opera plot or something, but I swear this is actually happening. My head is spinning, and I just need some outside perspectives. If anyone has dealt with family members spreading harmful rumors, what did you do? Part of me wants to just skip Christmas dinner altogether, but that would devastate Mia. And honestly, maybe that's what Sheila wants, for me to back out so she can continue spinning her story without me there to defend myself. But the thought of sitting across the table from her after what she's been saying, Edit. Some people are asking about Sheila's possible motives. I honestly think this is about money. Since she's struggling financially after her divorce and business problems, and our parents are leaving specific provisions for Mia in their will, I think she's trying to create doubt about Mia being their real grandchild. Maybe she thinks if she can prove Mia isn't really family, that trust will go away. Edit 2. To those asking why my parents have my medical records, they don't normally. During my fertility struggles, my mom came to a lot of appointments with me for support. Steven was often traveling for work, and I gave her copies of some test results to help her understand what was happening. They got filed away with other family medical stuff. Edit 3. Several people have asked if Sheila has always been jealous of Mia specifically. Not exactly. She was actually pretty good with Mia when she was a baby toddler. But Sheila and Brandon tried for kids for years and it never happened, so there's always been some sensitivity there. Maybe that's part of this too. Edit 4. Wow, this blew up overnight. To clarify some common questions. Yes, I've thought about skipping Christmas dinner, but that would devastate Mia and probably just make family members wonder if Sheila's claims have merit. And no, I don't have any fertility clinic paperwork that would prove Mia is mine because we conceived naturally after years of tests and consultations. I have her birth certificate and hospital records where I'm clearly listed as the birth mother. But I really don't want to have to prove my daughter is mine to my own family. That's just so messed up. Edit 5. A lot of you are saying I should just bring this up directly with my parents now. You're probably right. I've been avoiding it because my dad had a minor heart scare last year, and I don't want to stress them out, but maybe letting this blow up at Christmas dinner would be worse. I'll try to talk to them tomorrow. Thanks, everyone. Now for the first update. So a lot has happened since my last post. This all went down yesterday. First off, thanks to everyone who commented with advice and support. Honestly, wasn't expecting so many responses, and I was too anxious to reply to most of them because I was freaking out about Christmas dinner. But I read everything and really appreciated all the suggestions. Sorry in advance for how long this is going to be, but holy shit, what a disaster. I'm still processing everything, to be honest. Christmas dinner was yesterday, and it started out totally fine. Well, on the surface anyway. My mom goes all out with the decorations every year. Mia was so excited because my parents always make everything super magical for her. I got there early to help with stuff and brought my cranberry sauce. It was Steven's favorite, and I don't know, making it always makes me feel like he's still part of our traditions somehow. My mom was running around the kitchen stressed but refusing help with anything important. Lol. My dad was watching football. Everyone started showing up around 4. My grandfather, 92, made it, which was amazing. My mom's sister and her husband came. My dad's sister and her husband, plus like 5 cousins including Shannon, the one who warned me about Sheila's rumors. Shannon gave me this look when she arrived and squeezed my hand, which made me feel a little better but also more nervous. Sheila was the last one to arrive, of course, in an obviously expensive outfit. She was carrying all these wrapped gifts and being weirdly cheerful to everyone. Like, too cheerful. I was immediately suspicious because she's never this pleasant at family gatherings. The afternoon was going pretty normally. We did our gift exchange before dinner, like we always do, and Mia was so proud handing out these little ornaments she made for everyone. She worked so hard on them, and everyone made a big deal, which made her so happy. The weird thing was how Sheila kept paying all this attention to Mia, like way more than usual. She kept making comments about how beautiful Mia is and how striking her blue eyes are while looking around at everyone. I could tell what she was doing but didn't want to cause a scene. Dinner started around 6. My dad did his traditional Christmas toast about how grateful he was to have everyone together, especially his 2 beautiful daughters and precious granddaughter. I saw Sheila's face kind of tighten up when he said that, but she went right back to smiling. Everything was fine until dessert. My mom was serving her Christmas pudding, that nobody actually likes, but we all pretend to because it's tradition lol, when Sheila suddenly stood up and clinked her glass with a spoon. The room got really quiet, and she pulled out this folder from her handbag. My stomach dropped because I knew exactly what was about to happen. Basically, she started talking about having concerning information she felt obligated to share with the family. My dad asked what this was about, looking confused and irritated. Then she started pulling out these papers she claimed were from my fertility clinic, saying they proved I was never able to conceive naturally. Everyone was glancing between us, looking super uncomfortable. She accused me of lying to everyone about Mia's parentage for years. My mom tried to stop her, reminding her that Mia was sitting right there, but Sheila just kept going. She actually pulled out a home DNA test kit from her purse and said we could settle this right now. Mia asked me what was happening with tears in her eyes. It broke my heart seeing her look so confused. My grandfather stood up and told Sheila she was ruining Christmas, but she kept insisting this was for the good of the family and about protecting the family legacy, whatever that means. I asked Shannon to take Mia to the kitchen for ice cream because I didn't want her hearing any more of this. My dad was furious, wanting to know what Sheila thought she was doing. She kept saying she was trying to uncover the truth. Here's the thing though. After talking with Shannon last week, I had actually prepared for this possibility. I didn't think she'd actually do it, but I wanted to be ready just in case. So I got really calm, which I think freaked Sheila out because she expected me to freak out, and I reached into my own purse and pulled out my own folder. I told her I would take her DNA test, but I had some things to share first. You should have seen her face when I started laying out all my evidence. First, I pulled out bank statements showing weird withdrawals from my parents' accounts that matched deposits into Sheila's account over the last few months, over $25,000 total. My dad's eyes got huge when he saw those. Then I showed screenshots of texts between Sheila and her friend Jenna, where they discussed a plan to create doubt about the kid, so I would be cut out of the inheritance. Then I pulled out copies of loan applications using my dad's information as a cosigner that he never authorized. My dad confirmed right there at the table he never signed anything. But the best part was when I played a voice recording from when I confronted Sheila after finding her with my medical record. In the recording, she admits she knows Mia is my biological child, but thought creating doubt would help her financially after her divorce left her broke. And finally, I had a letter from my fertility specialist confirming that while yes, I had sought treatment, Mia was conceived naturally before we started any major procedures. The whole room went completely silent. My dad was breathing really heavily, which actually scared me because of his heart scare last year. My mom started crying quietly, and my dad asked Sheila in this really quiet voice if what I was showing was true. Sheila tried to deny everything at first, then tried to make me the bad guy for spying on her, lol what. But when she realized no one was buying it, she just broke down crying. Not like sad crying, but like angry crying, if that makes sense. Like she was mad she got caught. I told everyone I was happy to take the DNA test Sheila brought, not because I need to prove anything to her, but to permanently end any speculation that might hurt Mia in the future. My dad took the DNA test kit from Sheila and said we would do the test, but there would be serious conversations about her actions regardless of the outcome. I've never heard him use that tone with either of us. Dinner was basically over after that. Some people left really awkwardly, others stayed to comfort my parents. I took Mia home early because she was confused and upset. I tried to explain in a way an 8-year-old could understand. Basically that Aunt Sheila said some untrue things because she's having a hard time right now, which feels like an understatement, but whatever. We did the DNA samples the next day today at my parents' house. My dad oversaw the whole thing and is paying for rushed results. He wants this resolved immediately and looked so disappointed the whole time. My mom couldn't even be in the same room as Sheila. I'll update when we get the results and after my parents figure out what they're going to do about Sheila. I'm still in shock that she actually went through with her plan, even after I confronted her. Like, who ruins Christmas dinner like this? And in front of a child, I'm worried about Mia. She kept asking me on the way home if she did something wrong and if Aunt Sheila was mad at her. It broke my heart trying to explain that none of this was her fault. I'm so angry I can barely type this without shaking. Not just because of what Sheila tried to do to me, but because she was willing to hurt an innocent 8-year-old just to get more money. Who does that? Edit. A lot of people are asking if I knew about the stealing before Christmas. Yes and no. I had suspicions after seeing some bank statements at my parents' house a few weeks ago. I helped my dad with some bill-paying stuff, but I wasn't 100% sure until I did more digging last week. I planned to talk to my parents privately about it after Christmas, but Sheila forced my hand. Edit 2. For those asking how I got the recording, after Shannon warned me about the rumors, I started recording all my conversations with Sheila, one-party consent state. When I confronted her about finding her with my medical records, I had my phone recording in my pocket. Never thought I'd actually need it, but I'm so glad I did it. Edit 3. Some people are asking about the fertility clinic letter. After my last post, I called my old doctor and explained the situation. She was horrified and wrote a letter confirming my medical history. I've been her patient for over 10 years, so she remembers everything we went through. Edit 4. Thanks for all the supportive comments. It means a lot. I'm mostly worried about Mia right now. She seemed okay this morning, but keeps asking questions about why Aunt Sheila was saying those things. I'm trying to be honest without giving her more information than an 8-year-old needs. Might look into a child therapist to help her process this. Edit 5. To answer the most common question, no. I never suspected Sheila would steal from my parents. That was the most shocking part for me. I knew she was having financial problems, but taking money from our elderly parents is a whole other level of awful. Apparently she had access to their accounts because she sometimes helps my mom with online shopping. My mom is terrible with technology. Now for the second update. It's been almost a month since the Christmas dinner disaster, and honestly, I have so much to update you guys on. I wanted to wait until things settled down a bit before posting, but honestly, things keep changing like every day, and I figured I should just update now before this gets even more complicated. First off, thank you to everyone who commented on my previous posts with support and advice. I read every comment even though I was too overwhelmed to respond to most of them. To the person who suggested I record all conversations with Sheila, you literally saved me. Thank you. So, the DNA test results. They came back within a week after Christmas. My dad paid extra for rush processing because he wanted this whole thing resolved immediately. My dad, Roy, insisted on being there when we opened the envelope. He actually picked it up from the testing place himself and brought it straight to my house. I mean, I already knew what the results would say because, I gave birth to my daughter. But seeing it there in black and white was, I don't know, both validating and also just incredibly sad that it had to come to this. Like the fact that I had to prove my daughter is mine is just so messed up. My dad sat at my kitchen table reading over the results. Mia was at a play date, thankfully, and just kept shaking his head. I could tell he was trying not to cry, which made me start crying because I've literally only seen my dad cry like twice in my entire life. He hugged me for a long time and kept apologizing for not seeing what Sheila was capable of. He called a family meeting that night, just my mom, him, me, and my grandfather to show everyone the results and basically apologize for the holiday being completely ruined. My mom was a complete wreck. She kept saying she didn't understand where they went wrong with Sheila and blaming herself. Honestly, the whole thing was just awful. I felt vindicated, but also just heartbroken. For my parents, for Mia, for the whole situation, no one should have to prove their child is theirs to their own family. It's just so beyond messed up. Anyway, after the results came back, my parents tried to contact Sheila, like dozens of calls and messages. She completely ghosted them for almost 2 weeks. My mom was honestly beside herself with worry, even after everything that happened. My mom has always had this thing where she makes excuses for Sheila no matter what she does, which is probably part of the problem, to be honest. When my mom finally managed to get Sheila on the phone, she literally went to Sheila's apartment and refused to leave until she talked to her. Sheila tried to make herself the victim. She told my mom she was just concerned about the family and that I had created a vendetta against her. She still wouldn't admit she was wrong, even with the DNA test results. That was the final straw for my parents. My dad has always been a total pushover when it comes to Sheila. He admits this, and my mom always makes excuses for her. But this time they both just stopped. So here's where things get even more serious. My parents contacted their estate attorney, and after several meetings, they made the decision to remove Sheila from their will, completely. I had very mixed feelings about this. Like on one hand, what Sheila did was absolutely unforgivable. She tried to convince our entire family that Mia wasn't my biological child. She stole from our elderly parents. She had this whole calculated plan to try to get me cut out of the inheritance, all while my parents were letting her live in their guest house and supporting her after her divorce. But on the other hand, she's still my sister, and I don't know, the thought of my parents completely cutting her off made me feel weird and sad. So I actually suggested they consider putting Sheila's portion in a trust instead of completely disinheriting her. My parents listened, but they felt like there needed to be real consequences this time. My dad said they've been enabling Sheila's behavior for decades, and it was time to stop. But they did agree to set up conditions for how Sheila could potentially be reinstated in the will. 1, she has to go to therapy for at least 6 months. My dad's actually offering to pay for it. 2, she has to pay back all the money she took from their accounts. Turns out it's almost $32,000 when they found all the unauthorized credit card charges. 3, she has to make genuine apologies to both me and Mia. Honestly, I'm kind of shocked by how firm they're being. This is not how they usually handle Sheila's drama. But I guess everyone has a breaking point. As for Mia, God, that's been the hardest part of all this. She's only 8, She doesn't understand why her aunt would say those things or why everyone was so upset at Christmas. I actually talked to a child psychologist about the best way to handle it. I ended up telling Mia that Aunt Sheila said some untrue things because she's having some personal problems right now. I emphasized that families sometimes have disagreements, but that doesn't change the fact that she is absolutely my daughter and that everyone loves her very much. I tried to keep it age appropriate while still being honest. The child psychologist suggested a few sessions for Mia to help her process everything, which we've been doing. She seems to be doing okay, but still asks about Sheila sometimes, which breaks my heart. Oh, and Sheila showed up at my house unannounced last week. She looked like a complete mess, hair unwashed, wearing sweatpants, which is not normal for her at all. She's usually super put together. I didn't invite her in, just stood in the doorway because I didn't want Mia to overhear anything if this went badly. Sheila immediately started saying I turned the entire family against her and I was exaggerating everything. I stayed super calm and just said, I literally just showed everyone evidence of her own actions and words. She kept insisting she was just asking questions and didn't deserve to be completely cut off financially. I pointed out that publicly questioning whether Mia is my child was incredibly harmful to an innocent 8-year-old. Then she started crying about how her divorce left her desperate and she wasn't thinking clearly. I told her, I understand she's going through a hard time, but that doesn't justify targeting my child or stealing from our parents. She asked if I would talk to our parents about reconsidering their decision, and I explained that restoration is possible, but she needs to meet their conditions. When I mentioned the therapy requirement, she scoffed and said she's not crazy, just going through a rough time. I suggested therapy might actually help her deal with her divorce and financial problems, but she wasn't having it. She suddenly got super angry and started going off about how I've always been the perfect daughter. I just stayed calm and said I'm far from perfect, but I would never hurt my family the way she did. Then she threatened that this isn't over and that she'll contest the will changes if necessary. I just told her that's between her and our parents. She left crying, slammed her car door, and sped off. The whole thing was just exhausting. The weird thing is that yesterday my dad called and said Sheila reached out to him asking about the therapists he recommended. He's hopeful that she might be taking a first step toward meeting their conditions. But I'm pretty skeptical given her history of manipulation. Like this could just be another tactic, you know? I have such conflicted feelings about the possibility of reconciliation with Sheila. On one hand, I'm deeply hurt by her willingness to cause Mia emotional harm. Like, who does that to a child? But on the other hand, I remember when we were kids and Sheila would stand up for me against bullies and how she helped me through my first heartbreak in high school. I've set really firm boundaries. Any future relationship depends on her completely acknowledging what she did and sincerely apologizing to Mia. I'm not sure if reconciliation is even possible, but I feel like I should leave the door slightly open, especially since Mia has been asking about her aunt despite everything. It's crazy how family jealousy and money can reveal such ugly sides of people. But at the same time, maybe this crisis will create some opportunity for growth. I don't know. Maybe that's just me being naively optimistic. I'm so grateful for my parents' support through all this. They've been absolutely amazing, and I know this is killing them, having to basically choose between their daughters. But they've been unequivocal about supporting me and Mia. For now, I'm just focusing on creating stability for Mia, who has honestly been so resilient through all this. And even though this has been the most stressful month of my life, there's been something kind of freeing about finally standing up to Sheila's manipulation after years of trying to keep the peace. Edit. To those asking if I'm worried about Sheila contesting the will, from what my parents' lawyer said, she doesn't really have grounds since nothing is finalized yet, and my parents are still alive, thank God. They're still working on the exact legal details with their attorney. Edit 2. Someone asked how my parents missed $32,000 being taken from their accounts. Basically, my dad handles most of their finances, but he's been having some vision problems the last year, cataracts, and my mom is terrible with technology. Sheila had access to help my mom with online shopping and bill payments. They trusted her completely. Also, the money was taken in smaller amounts over time, not all at once. Edit 3. A lot of people are asking if I think Sheila will actually go to therapy. Honestly, I doubt it. Or if she does, it'll just be to check the box to get back in the will. But maybe I'm being too cynical. I don't know. Edit 4. To everyone saying I'm too forgiving, maybe you're right. But Mia loves her aunt despite everything, and they've had a good relationship until recently. That's the main reason I'm even considering leaving the door open a tiny crack. But believe me, I'm not rushing to reconcile, and I have zero trust right now.